Can't see Zach. Okay. I'm recording. Okay. Andrea Lanning, October 29th. Persuasive Speech. There are many different ways to add a new animal to your family. More commonly, they can be adopted from shelters, or they can be bought from breeders. As someone passionate about animals and determined to work in shelter medicine, adopting animals is a better way of gaining a new friend as opposed to buying from breeders. At some point in life, everyone considers getting a new pet. We all look for answers to one main question: where? According to the Pet Statistics article by the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, approximately 2.7 million shelters are adopted each year. Animal shelters provide safer, healthier benefits as opposed to buying animals from sellers. Shelters are more humane than breeders, they are cheaper than breeders, and housing some of their animals better than breeders do. Shelters are humane by providing warm homes for their animals, having them checked and cared for by a veterinarian, and not forcing them to do things they wouldn't make a human do. By adopting, you're also saving money, and shelters know their animals very well, as they have taken the time to teach and learn about these animals. This brings me to my first point. Shelters are more humane with their animals than breeders. They hire workers and volunteers to feed, socialize, and train their animals. Shelters do not abuse animals or force them to perform unhealthy actions either. According to the monks of New Skeet in their book, The Art of Raising a Puppy, they say many shelters have made a concerted effort in the past 20 years to provide not only humane but safe and conscientious ways for obtaining a dog. Shelters help the animal feel as comfortable as possible. They do what they can to make sure the animal has plenty of space with food, water, and appropriate temperature levels. According to Martha Smith in her Operational Guide for Animal Care and Control Agencies, Sanitation and Disease Control, group housings is one option for an adoption area or long-term holding area if necessary for the duration of a law enforcement case. Cats may be housed in colonies and dogs may be pair housed. These arrangements alleviate stress and boredom when appropriate social matching is done. Breeders typically don't provide adequate holding areas for their animals, instead keeping them cramped together. Shelters place newly arrived animals in a holding area to have them checked by a doctor, and if they are sick, the animals will be placed on medication and either in isolation or quarantine, depending on the illness and the severity of it. Once the animal is better, they get adopted out. Sellers, however, are only in the business for profit. Therefore, they typically do not have their animals checked by a veterinarian. According to an article on the Paws website titled Buyer Beware, the problem with puppy mills and backyard breeders, because puppy mills and backyard breeders choose profit over animal welfare, their animals typically do not receive proper veterinary care. Animals may seem healthy at first, but later show issues like congenital eye and hip defects, parasites, or even the deadly parvovirus. Shelters don't force their animals to produce litter after litter either. Instead, they pull homeless animals off the streets and make them adoptable. Another benefit to this is you're saving an animal's life and giving it a home and a second chance. Breeders, on the other hand, force their animals to breed consecutively. Not only can this be tiring for an animal and considered inhumane, most of the animals produced from these litters are euthanized or die from untreated diseases. Another reason to adopt from shelters is due to them being cheaper compared to buying from breeders. Adopting is lighter on your wallets as opposed to shopping. You will be adopting an animal with proof of updated vaccinations, one that has been fixed and possibly given a starter kit to last you at least a week as you get started with your new family addition. According to the HumaneSociety.org, pets adopted from shelters and rescue groups typically cost less than pets purchased or even acquired for free. Once you add in the cost of vaccinations, spay-neuter surgery, microchip, dewormer, and other extras included in your adoption fee, you'll probably be surprised what a bargain it is. Shelter pets are already vaccinated and medicated, whereas most breeders do not bother with veterinary care for their pets. This not only allows a healthy animal, but this is a guarantee to be a cheaper route for you. Breeders advertise their animals at what might seem like a fair price, but according to Kim Saunders in her book, The Adopted Dog Bible, these ads may appear to offer an inexpensive route to dog adoption. They may even say the dog is free to a good home. But what you don't pay in adoption fees now may result in you having to pay for more for the dog's care later. That's because shelters and rescue groups generally spay or neuter their dogs in their care, immunize them with rabies and other serious diseases, and dispense medications designed to combat parasites. Along with care and vaccinations, animals are spayed or neutered before being adopted out to new owners and homes. There may be a small additional cost in the adoption fee for this, but it is considerably cheaper because you won't have to pay for the surgery fee. The price of spaying and neutering varies from region and veterinarian. Breeders won't pay for the cost of spaying and neutering, instead selling the animal at a high cost with potential health problems unless you pay out of pocket for surgery and checkup. Aside from the animal, some shelters will start you off with a starter kit, especially food if the animal is on a diet, registration and microchip information, and anything else you may need to own your new dog or cat. In Saunders' book, The Adopted Dog Bible, she states adoption costs vary, depending on location and whether the dog needs to be spayed or neutered. Most shelters can't afford to fix an animal, so they will have lower adoption fees, usually leaving you with extra money to fix that animal yourself. Another thing I'd like to point out is that shelters know their animals better than breeders do. Although breeders may know about the breed they raise and sell, breeders do not take the time to teach manners or learn about the temperament of their animal. While every breed has certain personality traits, they're all different, just like us. Shelters take the time to socialize their dogs and cats, and breeders, however, simply sell their animal the first chance that they get, usually leading to these animals being given up to a shelter due to being so untrained and ill-mannered. Due to the time spent with these animals, shelters have an idea of the animal's temperament. Saunders says once more in her book, shelter personnel evaluate his temperament. During his stay, shelter employees and volunteers not only feed the animal, but also try to spend some quality time with them. Shelters use their knowledge to make sure their animals go to a good, compatible home. Some animals are not child-friendly, dog-cat friendly, and some even dislike specific genders, and they try to be careful of these issues. Shelters will find the right animal for you following your specifications. Breeders, however, typically sell to the first person that will buy from them at a good price. As discussed, adopting from a shelter is a wiser choice than buying from a breeder. Adopting from shelters is more humane and cheaper than buying your new pet from a breeder or mill. It is also smarter due to the shelter knowing their animals better and putting in the effort to find a perfect match for you. I could list plenty more reasons about why adopting is better. If you ever decide to invest in a new addition to your family, please consider all of your options. Not only does it save you money and benefit you, but take a moment to think of the animals you are helping as well.